Water's so boring. It's flat. Like the earth. That was a joke. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Super Gaming Minute, the channel dedicated to all things Nintendo and gaming. Today I want to talk to you guys about the Polymega. This console is super interesting, and what makes it so interesting is that it's compatible with almost every single retro console on the market. It even just announced that it'll be compatible with the N64. Now what makes this so interesting is that this is the first N64 clone that we've seen. Hyperkin did have a system that was said to be coming out, but we haven't heard anything about that. This console has always been extremely interesting to me, and I figure it's time that we actually take a deep dive into the console itself and talk more about the N64 Element that is just announced. But before we get into everything, don't forget to give this video a like if you guys are interested in the Polymega EM05. And of course, feel free to subscribe to Super Gaming Minute if you guys are interested in all things Nintendo and gaming. We release 1 to 2 new videos every week, and the only way to stay up to date with everything we release would be to subscribe and to ring the notification bell. And with all that said, let's get right into things. Before we get into what the Polymega is, I think it's important that we talk about the company Plamaji, who created this first little device first. Plamaji is a small specialty developer based in California who specialize in next-generation video game-related products for new and retro game consoles. The company was founded by video game developer veterans Brian Bernal, who has previously worked on the Ratchet & Clank series, Baldur's Gate, as well as the Fallout series, as well as fellow game developer Eric Christensen, who has also worked on the Ratchet & Clank series as well as Titanfall, Resistance, and a bunch others. The Polymega was originally announced all the way back in 2017 as the Retro Blocks, an all-in-one retro video game console renamed the Polymega a little while later. It was developed to allow its owners the convenience of playing a growing library of disc and cartridge-based console games all in one place. It was initially slated for release all the way back in early 2019 and was pushed back again and again, with it finally being released in early September of this year. These delayed releases seem to be a trend with these new gen retro console developers. Now obviously the pandemic has made it hard for developers, especially smaller companies like Plamaji, to fill orders on proposed deadlines due to the closed businesses and lack of materials. And for this I'm sure we can cut these developers a break. So what consoles does the Polymega support? Well, that's the best part. This console can play host to probably one of the biggest libraries of games I've ever seen. Libraries such as the NES, Super NES, Mega Drive, Genesis, the TG16 via the optional Element modules that you can purchase separately, and we'll get into that and the pricing at the end of this video. Straight out of the box, the main unit can play most CD-based consoles including Mega CD, Sega Saturn, PlayStation, PC Engine, and Neo Geo CD. You even have the ability to install your games to the user interface and play them with enhanced RGB and composite video filters, save states, and improved load times for supported systems. With every purchase you get the Polymega base unit, the Polymega Universal Wireless Controller, the power supply unit, HD cable, a dust cover, and the Polymega Quick Start Guide. As for extras that you can purchase separately, well, as mentioned, the Element modules that were listed earlier in this video, as well as Playmega's branded clone controllers for each system, including the NES, Super NES, Genesis 6-button controller, and even a gun controller for playing games like Duck Hunt. They really have gone all out and thought of everything. So the Polymega EM05. Now, yes, this console is pretty damn cool, but the overall console isn't why you clicked this video. No, viewers of my channel are probably more interested in the brand new Element module that Plamaji revealed with the help of Nintendo Life just a couple days ago. The Polymega EM05 Element module, the world's first and currently only N64 clone console. Yes, that's right, complete with its own N64 controller. Now, one of the biggest questions has got to be, how well does this console emulate the N64? Because let's be real, if Nintendo themselves via the Switch Online expansion pack can't even find a decent way of emulating these games, I mean, what chance does Plamaji have? Well, according to Plamaji themselves, the Polymega will play at a minimum of 90% of N64 games, working great to near perfect, and they are expecting over time that amount will likely increase. If this is true, it's definitely remarkable, and I for one am excited to give it a try. Now, during the Nintendo Life interview, which I will link at the bottom of this video, when Plamaji was asked, is the N64 emulator that you're using based on a pre-existing one, or is it custom made? The response was a little vague, quoting, "Part of our licensing and development / co-development process is ensuring that nearly all games can be played without any complicated configuration or setup by the user." and that you can plug a legitimate cartridge and controller in and play it without any hassle. Plug-in flipping, configuration, and so on. So when this module is released, it will employ the best legal solution we can provide while hitting the same minimum 90% capability requirement we have for our CD BIOS solution and other supported game systems. The specifics will be released a little later on before launch. That really doesn't give us any real information on whether this is an in-house developed emulator or not, and it sounds as though we're going to have to wait a little while to find out for sure. So the emulator itself sounds pretty great. I mean, a 90% compatibility to start, and with the hopes of possibly 100% compatibility in the future. But what about the controller? What controller can we expect to use with this new addition to the Polymega? Well, the universal wireless controller will work right out of the gate, so there's no reason to purchase any other controllers. But what about if you want something a little more authentic? It just so happens that each additional Element module has its corresponding controller inputs, which should allow you to use your official Nintendo 64 controller. That is, unless you want to play with something a little more updated and modern. Each EM05 Element module will be shipped with a Polymega branded Tribute 64 controller, probably one of the absolute best third-party modern N64 controllers, right behind the Brawler 64 in my opinion. Additionally, since this is a Tribute 64 controller, it should also work on your original N64 console as well. Another interesting tidbit from the Nintendo Life article asks Plamaji if they will be offering any emulation options for this, such as higher resolution modes and so on. Plamaji's answer to the question is as follows: maybe. Truth be told, we don't particularly like the HD look, and it's ripe for unintentional bugs. Hence the reason we don't support it on our other consoles Polymega supports, such as the Sega Saturn and PlayStation 1. Instead, we focus our efforts on virtual display filters, which authentically recreate the look of classic TVs and smooth out jaggies significantly the way they were meant to look. Polymega currently has some of the best scanline effects available anywhere, as well as CRT style curvature, enhancing the effects significantly. Honestly, there are times where I think I'm looking at an arcade cabinet monitor while playing these games, which is, in our opinion, how they're meant to look and how they were meant to be played. That's a solid answer, and I'm pretty sure most fans can appreciate the work that they have put in to make these consoles look great. Now, here's where things start to get a little dicey. The pricing for the Polymega and the N64 EM05 Element. Just the console itself before buying the additional Element add-ons will run you about $449. Now remember, with that $449 price tag, the Polymega will play most classic CD-based consoles straight out of the gate, which is nothing to sneeze at. Although $400 is a hefty price tag, and you're really going to want to make sure you read up all you can about this console and really want to play these games. As for the EM05 N64 Element add-on, well, there are no articles that I can find depicting the price of this module, and the Playmega's website doesn't currently have that information on it. But looking at the other elements on the website, they're selling for $79 each. So in total, we'll be looking at a minimum of $528 before taxes, and that's a lot of money to throw at a console. Any console. Now, I have to ask, is that price worth it to you? I mean, I can pick up an N64 from most classic game stores nowadays for about $100 to $150. Now, that won't run on a lot of newer televisions, and even if your current television will run the original N64, the picture won't be the prettiest thing to look at. But an original N64 system will play 100% of the games, no problem. Now, is this worth spending another $400 on just to play these games? Well, I don't know that's truly up to me at this point. Now, if you've currently purchased the Polymega and are already enjoying the console, an additional $79 at that point may not be such a hard pill to swallow in order to pick up the newest elements. I mean, isn't that the reason to purchase the system in the first place? To add your ever-growing library of games to this console. Basically, if you can afford the price of this console up front and it makes sense for you in your situation to do so, then why not? I, for one, will most likely be picking one of these things up as early as I can. I mean, I love playing my retro games, and I love the convenience that this console brings. Alright guys, and that is it. Now, after the video, what do you think about the Polymega and the EM05? Is it something you're thinking about picking up? Or maybe you already got one. What do you think of it? Let us know in the comment section down below. And if you do own it, do you plan on getting the EM05 when it's released? At $79, it's a little expensive, but if you already own the console, maybe it makes sense to pick it up. Now, thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of this video. If you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe to Super Gaming Minute. We release 1 to 2 new Nintendo related videos every single week. Also, don't forget to like the video, guys. If you learned something or you liked what you saw, share the video with a friend who's also interested in the Polymega and might also be interested to know about the N64 add-on for the system. Thank you all so much. As always, I appreciate all of you guys. Keep on gaming.